Hello and welcome to another episode of Digital Marketing with Halfdan and Kristian. Today we're going to talk about one of our favorite subjects of all time, being how you can spy on your competitors. And Kristian, how many hours a day do you spend on spying on your clients' competitors?
Honestly, I can't tell you that because it's way too many hours. But
It's actually
it's
incredible you
like
get something done when you spend like
exactly,
5 hours a day
exactly,
just
yeah.
looking through ads library. Yeah.
No, but to be honest, it's one of the most enjoyable things to
Yes.
do, in my honest opinion, because it gives you so much inspiration to what you could do either on your own
Yeah.
company or in the cases you're working on.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just love spying.
Yeah. And I know some marketers would use this as an opportunity to do virtue signaling and say, I would never copy what another competitor is doing. And I'm perfectly comfortable stating I copy a lot.
Of
A
course.
lot. Yeah, of course. I don't want to reinvent the wheel every single time. So when I'm working with a client in a space that I don't know too well, I have like a bunch of ads that I know would usually work and I would copy them based on what I've done previously. But I'm also every single time going to go into Facebook ads library and LinkedIn ads library and then get inspiration as to what they're actually running. But when you use Facebook ads library or LinkedIn ads library, it's actually kind of difficult to estimate what ads are performing well because you can just see all of the ads that are running. So when you would do this for one of your clients, how would you really estimate which one to copy? Is that just based on your gut feeling?
Honestly, up until now, because we have a new solution, but up until now,
Yes.
it has been a gut feeling, to be quite honest, because you
Yeah.
just see a bunch of ads and then you look through them, and some of them you like personally, but that's like a subjective. That's subjective to you that you like them.
Yeah.
Are they
Just as
the
an
best?
example, you also like
Maybe.
your haircut and most people don't. So it's very subjective.
Exactly. That was a low blow. No, so but there was actually one method that if you scroll all the way down in the meta ads library, you can see the oldest ads, and
Yes.
either that's because they don't know they're still running that ad, but I tend to think that marketeers out there are quite good at their job. So potentially those are the ads that are working good or
Yeah.
have been working good for a longer span of time.
Yeah, there were really two options. So one was seeing the ad that had been running for the longest time. The second one was looking into the actual reach of a given ad. Because I'm just going to share my screen for the people watching here on YouTube or Spotify with video. So I'm in the ads library of Obsidian Denmark right now. And when you see any given ad, you can actually go and see transparency by location, and then you'll get a number for reach. So I can see this specific ad has been reached by 1,358 people. And if you then take that number and multiply that with like an average CPM price of the country that's also visible within the ads library, well, you can actually kind of guess the number here. The thing is, you have to do this manually, ad by ad, and there can be like 50 ads or 500 ads. So in reality, this method doesn't really work. And that's kind of what we wanted to figure out a solution for. So we've actually built a tool in Obsidian that's freely and publicly available at no cost. You don't even have to sign up with email. You can't even sign up with email that will do this for you. So I thought we're going to take a look at how that actually works and how you can use that to spy on competitors a bit more qualitatively, because you've always been able to spy on competitors, but you weren't able to see what was actually working. But you are able to see what's working now. And this is a tool that we've made with Lovable and a bunch of APIs. So just a very brief introduction, Tinho, to the people who don't know Lovable or Google AI Studio or like these IDEs, integrated development in environments. What do they actually do and what are we using them for?
It enables you to code without being able to code. So you've probably heard about the term vibe coding. So neither Halfdan or I can write one line of code. Okay, maybe Halfdan can write
Maybe
one. I
one.
can't. At tops one, but by just explaining what you want to see, and we have this process in our heads about how we historically have been looking through ads libraries and how we've tried to calculate which ads had the highest reach and so on. And we just try to compromise this into one or two prompts into Lovable. Whereafter Lovable created this web app for us. And then obviously there's been a lot of more work afterwards in terms of APIs, but the essence is that we could just describe what we wanted as a web app, and then it created it for us.
Yes, that's true. And I've probably spent a total of, I'd probably guess 20 hours building this tool so far, and that's only because it was possible to build with one of these integrated development agencies. We're going to go through that in a different episode one day. So another thing that enabled this is this page. It's called Apify.com. And Apify.com is just a collection of APIs that you're able to use. And a number of these APIs actually work for Facebook Ads Library. So they're scrapers, which means that when you enable the API, they actually have a computer running in their end, which will go into Facebook Ads Library or LinkedIn Ads Library. It works for both. And then just scrape whatever information you actually need. So essentially, you're booting up someone else's computer every time you're using our tool now, which will then go to Ads Library and kind of manually pull out the relevant information, because Facebook's own API does not allow for us to subtract this information. I tried doing that to begin with, but it's unfortunately not possible. So we had to use a third-party API provider. So this is hovering around the gray zones in terms of Facebook's terms of usage.
I was just going to say, you started out by trying to be the good guy, found out that Facebook did not allow you to be the good guy, and then you had to go to the more gray area.
Then I found a solution, and the solution was on Apify.com. So the cost, if anyone is wondering, for every 1,000 ads that we crawl, we pay around $1. So it's not very costly unless a lot of people start using the tool, which is the case for us. We have had more than 1,500 companies be analyzed by now. So it actually added some API cost, but I'm always looking for ways to increase our software bills. So that's good. No, so the site we've built can be found on marketing-spend.com. And the reason why we chose this domain is that marketing-spend.com without a dash was taken and cost $3,100. So I decided that was too expensive because marketing-spend.com was only $10. So now I have $3,090 more I can use for API costs, which we're definitely going to do. So that's why we took this particular domain.
But I haven't asked you about this. Was it free? Was it available? The domain?
Yeah, marketing-spend.com. Yeah, that was free.
I thought you were
available.
Purchasing from some domain shark.
No.
Really?
This was perfectly available. Yeah.
Nice.
I was surprised as well.
Yeah.
Super surprised. So this page has actually been built, and this shows, like, if you could just go to the page today, what you'll see is all of the other companies that have already been analyzed. So we can see there's like 417 companies within e-commerce, 100 within professional services, 69 within fashion, and so forth. And we probably have, I don't know actually how many have been analyzed by now, but if there's a page here for all companies, where we can see, if I scroll all the way to the bottom, like a lot of people have used this tool, but for the first 2 weeks already, 1,564 companies have already been analyzed. So that's pretty amazing. Like, I just posted this on LinkedIn and people thought it was really useful, and I actually have a lot of direct traffic on it every day. But the way you actually use this is that you'll go to Facebook Ads Library, then you take the entire URL for the page that you're visiting. Then you go to the tool, paste that URL in, and you can do the same with LinkedIn. It works exactly the same way. Then you click Analyze. And I don't know if you've seen this, but I've actually created this loading screen that shows you how the API is currently doing. This is a new feature because previously when you use the tool and entered the URL, it would just like wait. So you didn't really know if it was actually working. So we enabled a loading screen with a terminal layout where we then also put an ad for our Design as a Service product. I thought that was pretty neat, right?
Yeah, it looks really cool. I love having the terminal up when I'm sitting out at a cafe or something, because it looks like I know what I'm doing, but it's
exactly.
I'm just like pressing on the keyboard without anything happening on the screen.
Yeah. So now that we've done the analysis, and we can see it was actually done 2 days ago. So I'm just making sure that it's being refreshed because the tool might cache some information as well. So we can see that we have a number, like 30 ads running currently. And it estimates that our monthly spend is currently $672. And this is done by taking all of the ads that are currently running on Obsidian Denmark's Facebook profile, which are accessible using Facebook Ads Library, and then we multiply with a static CPM price. So we can see down here, there's a static CPM price. The standard is $12 for Denmark. It's $3 for Germany. So this varies depending on the country. And then it multiplies. And this number is actually lower than our current ad spend. But the reason is that we use multiple pages on our ad account. So we have a page for Obsidian Denmark. We have one for Obsidian Helsinki. We have one for Design as a Service. We have one for me for the events that I'm involved in. So this is an important thing to note. This shows the ad spend on the given page, not the ad account, because the ad account can and often will advertise for multiple pages. So you have to do the analysis for all of them. But you'll see that here. Then if it's a company that's been searched for more times, I actually save this information in a database so that you can see the development. So you can see the development and how many ads were active and the estimated spend. So you can see here that the tool estimates that in the middle of January, we spent more money than we did in the beginning of January, which is true because the beginning of January, people were still on vacation. So we didn't have a lot of ads running. And then we have the killer functionality down here, because we actually show the best performing ads, which Ads Library doesn't show you, or you can see it, but you have to go into each ad manually. We actually show you the best performing ads here based on the highest reach, the longest runtime, so the ads have been live for the longest time, and how much ad spend it's been spending this specific week. And Tinho, why is it that we can assume that the ads that have been spending, or sorry, that have the highest reach is also the best performing? Why would that necessarily be?
That would often be the case, because if the ad has the highest reach, it would typically also be that ad that we've spent the most money on. And if we've spent the most money on this ad, it better be the one working the best. Otherwise, we have messed it up internally.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's the reasoning behind.
That's the thing. Like, the ad that have seen the most reach is usually the ad that spent the most money, and the ad that spent the most money, if it's an advertising that knows what they're doing. And I agree with you. We shouldn't assume that people don't know what they're doing. Like, people are usually not as dumb as we think. So the ad that have the highest reach is also usually the ones that have been performing the best. So if you were a competitor to Obsidian Agency, you can see, wow, this ad has been running for a long time. It probably works really well because it's been running for such a long time. And I can tell you it does. This ad is working well. Then you have this one, highest reach. I can also tell you there's a reason why this ad has the highest reach. It's not just for fun. And then you can go through all of the active ads sorted by reach. And we actually also have this nifty function, active landing pages. And I know this is something that you actually tend to look a lot into when you're evaluating potential clients and competitors. And why is that? What is it that the active landing pages can tell us so much about?
Yeah, because one thing is what the ad is, and whenever a potential client sees an ad and presses on it, they will get into a landing page. And this landing page can actually determine whether the ad is performing well or not. It could be the world's best ad, but if the landing page is bad, then the ad will never get the amount of spend that it should have had, because it does not perform. So
Yes.
looking at landing pages, it's also possible to reverse engineer the whole funnel of the company. So either it's one of our own cases or their competitors. It gives us an idea of what is working right now and what angles are they trying to, to market to their potential customers. And maybe we can learn something from that.
Yes, exactly. So seeing the active landing pages can actually tell us quite a lot about what companies are currently prioritizing. So that's why I consider this to be a valuable thing within the tool itself. And then, because we're consultants, we of course build in an export function, so you can export both to CSV, PDF, and Google Slides if you want to use this in a presentation, because you kind of have to do. And then I also have to talk a little bit about how it is this from a programmatic SEO perspective, because Tinho, I love a good programmatic SEO project. And the thing is, like, every time someone uses this tool, they actually help me build on top of this, because what we do is every time we make an analysis for a company, so every time a new company has been entered, we actually save a lot of information in a database. So we don't just immediately pull it from Meta and then we don't have it once the user closes the session. That was actually how Lovable built the tool initially. So how the tool was built initially is that the page that you see is temporary. So when you like close your session, it'll be gone forever. But instead, we have the page being a permanent URL. So right now I'm on the URL of marketing-spend.com/en for English /company/obsidian-Denmark. So this URL is permanent. We also serve a pre-rendered version of this page to the Googlebot, which is being done by a service called prerender.io, which allows Google to really understand what this page is about as raw HTML, even though the page is actually built inside JavaScript. So when a user goes to this page, it's actually very much built in JavaScript and is being created within the client, so the browser, but Google can actually see all of this content. And there's some unique text. I created a FAQ, frequently asked questions, which has schema markup enabled. There are similar companies for internal link building and all of this stuff. This also means that if you go into Google Search Console, and then see the efficacy of the page, we can actually see that the page is being indexed. Like we have a few hundred pages indexed already, which is very little because remember, like 1,500 companies have been analyzed and the page is available in multiple different languages. So there are so many more pages that need to be indexed. But Google just haven't prioritized the crawl time because it's like an entirely brand new domain. But it's already been indexed, and this is like statistics for the first week only, and we're already seeing a few hundred impressions and like 5, 10, 15 clicks per day. And this is
Could
despite the company being brand new.
could
Sorry, the domain being brand new.
do we call this community-led growth? Because the community is
Ooh.
actually helping us creating these
It
pages.
is, because anytime a person uses this page, we actually get more information and a new
Exactly.
permanent URL, and I'm caching the images. So I also have to kind of check my hosting bill because it's gonna run amok at some time. But it's actually a programmatic SEO project. Now, the thing I don't know is how we're gonna monetize this as a programmatic SEO project, because currently it's just cost. But I'm sure like if we get a few hundred visitors or a few thousand visitors a day for this page, eventually we'll figure out a solution. Like we have to remember the context of people using this page is people who want to improve their Facebook advertising, and we sell services within Facebook advertising, so we should be able to monetize that somehow. But the initial thought was really just building a tool that we would use ourselves, because this is an analysis that I've done personally many times, but I've done it manually or by trying to pull out spreadsheets and scraping and then doing it manually. So by being able to just enter one URL, and I actually made a bulk upload functionality. I don't know if you saw that, but you can actually like upload 5 different URLs for your client and 4 competitors, and then have them being analyzed at the same time and compare how they actually look. So it's very easy to now analyze in bulk. And this is something that I've been doing myself. So creating a tool just to scratch your own itch, I think is the best way to get started with vibe coding and making something that's actually useful for people.
I completely agree. And just here at the end of the video, just to get 100% transparency, there are 3 limitations that you have to be aware of. So number 1, the spend is based on reach. And if
Yes.
some of the competitors or your client or yourself, you are running ads with the goal of reach rather than, for example, conversions, it might give you a wrong impression, because reach campaigns tend to be much cheaper
Yeah.
CPM wise. So they'll get a higher reach, but the CPM is, well, not the same than
Yes.
when you run
That's true. Like we currently
the
assume a
conversions.
static CPM of
Yeah,
$12, which is fairly normal for a conversion campaign in the Scandinavian countries where we mostly advertise. But even conversion campaigns in Germany are much cheaper, and if you run reach campaigns, it's going to be much cheaper. So that is a limitation, and you do have the slider, so that if you
exactly.
assume or suspect this is the case, you can actually change the numbers. But the default number is assuming that the advertiser will be running mostly conversion focused campaigns, which is also true for most
Yeah,
advertisers, but not all.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So limitation number 1, it's based on reach. Number 2, it's on an estimated CPM, which you can edit yourself if you want to. And number 3, this is based on active ads. So not the one they have just paused. So if they just paused some ads that have been spending a lot, they won't be in there unless it was a part of the cached version. So
Yes.
these are the
Yeah.
3 overall limitations.
That's also true. And there's actually a fourth one, which is if you use multiple centers in your advertising.
Yeah.
So, as an example, we're currently running advertising for an event called Marketing BU, and we actually have advertising running on Obsidian's page for this. So, if we go to Obsidian's ads library here, or we could actually just do it in Marketing Spend here, we have campaigns that are advertising this event like this one. So this is like Copenhagen and buy a ticket, and it's been running for 6 days. And this one is also advertising this specific event. But the thing is, like, we also have other pages advertising this very specific event. So if we go to my personal page and then we refresh this one, so there's a refresh button on all companies as well, because the last fetch from this one was January 2nd. So I'm now running more ads. So we're just going to refresh the information. But then we'll see that I'm also running ads for this specific event on my own personal page. And this is where you have to remember, if you're working with a company or looking into a company that has multiple pages that are using in their advertising, which is a very efficient strategy, might I add.
Yeah.
Like, there's a reason why we do this. Like, the ads coming from my page performs better than the ads coming from Obsidian's page. And I think that's because I don't look like a company when you like glance over your newsfeed, so you don't immediately skip, even though it's relevant for you because of your banner blindness or banner fatigue. So the thing is, like, I also have ads running for this specific event, which you can see down here, especially this one where we're pitching it while almost drowning in the very cold weather in Helsinki. But that just means like we we have ads running from the same ad account but a different page. So this is also something to take into consideration. So the tool is not perfect, but it gives you a really good indication really quickly of how many ads are running, the historical performance, what's being prioritized by the advertiser that we're overlooking. Like, it gives you a really good idea in 30 seconds. And then you can dive more into it and change the assumptions should you want to for a more in-depth analysis. And just want to state, it also works for LinkedIn. You just have to take the same URL from the LinkedIn Ads library for any company, and it also works on LinkedIn. And if you're now thinking, well, LinkedIn and Meta are nice, but I spent more money on Google Ads. Google Ads is kind of a tricky case because there is actually an API for Google Ads. But the thing is, a click on Google can be $1 and $100, whereas the CPM price on Meta is not like completely stable, but it's very stable for a given country. So I know, like, across all of our advertisers in Denmark, we spend $12 on average in CPM for conversion-based campaigns, and that's regardless of whether you advertise for gambling, which usually has a very high cost per click in Google Ads, or say energy drinks, which would probably not have as high a click price. So Google is more tricky because there is an ads library and we can pull information, but we cannot pull information on the click price. And the click price varies wildly, much more than it does on Meta. So the estimates, if we were to include Google Ads, would be much less reliable. And that's why I haven't done so far. So we just wanted to show this tool, how you can use that to spy on competitors, the limitation of it. But try and take your competitors on Facebook Ads Library or LinkedIn Ads Library, give it a spin and see if you're being inspired to create some new ads. We certainly hope so. Thank you for watching the video. We look forward to publishing the next episode on next Monday. See you then.